I am drawing a single motor neuron. First is the cell body, which holds all parts of the cell, including the nucleus. Right here we have the nucleus that holds all genetic information in the form of chromosomes. Coming off of the cell body are dendrites. The dendrites receive messages from other cells. Also coming off of the cell body, we have the axon. The axon transmits information towards other neurons. And then connecting the cell body to the axon, we have the axon hillock. The axon hillock, like I said, connects the cell body with the axon. Also, if enough sodium ions are coming from the nucleus and they exceed what the axon hillock can hold, this allows sodium channels to open up, which is called action potential, sending these sodium ions down the axon. Also down the axon, we have fatty insulation called myelin sheath. The myelin sheath speed up the rate of the electrical impulse along the axon. In between the myelin sheath, there are these fatty gaps, right here, called the nodes of Ranvier. They generate electrical activities and provide an opportunity for the action potential to be recharged as it goes down the axon. At the end of the axon, marking the end of the neuron, we have terminal branches. And then at the end of the terminal branches, we have vesicle sacs. So, as the electrical impulses travel down the axon and they come to the end, to the terminal endings, this stimulates the vesicles to release neurotransmitters into the synaptic gaps, which are these gaps at the end of the vesicle sacs that mark the complete end of the neuron, and are basically the gaps in between this neuron and another neuron, which is where information is shared, so it's the other neuron. The synaptic gaps are basically the area between the axon endings and the dendrite of the next neuron. I will be drawing a single motor neuron. So here is the cell body, which holds all parts of the cell, including the nucleus. Here is the nucleus, which holds all of the genetic material in the form of chromosomes. Coming off of the cell body, we have dendrites. These dendrites receive information from other cells. Also coming off of the cell body, we have the axon. The axon transmits information towards other neurons. Connecting the cell body to the axon, we have the axon hillock. If there are enough sodium ions coming from the nucleus that exceed what the axon hillock can hold, the nucleus allows the sodium channels to open up, which is called action potential, sending the sodium ions down the axon. On the axon, we have these fatty insulation, and they're called the myelin sheath. Where there are no myelin sheath, there are these little gaps called the nodes of Ranvier. The myelin sheath also speed up the rate of electrical impulse down the axon, and then at the nodes of Ranvier right here, this is where electricity is generated, and it provides an opportunity for the action potential to be recharged. So at the end of the axon, we have terminal branches, and then they signify the end of the axon. And then at the end of these terminal branches, we have vesicle sacs. These vesicle sacs are little, allow for electrical impulses to travel down the axon, and then at the terminal endings of the vesicle sacs, they are stimulated and they reach neurotransmitters into the synaptic gaps, which are the gaps right here at the end of the vesicle sacs, that are the gaps between the end of this neuron and the beginning of another neuron. So this is the other neuron. I will be drawing a single motor neuron. Here is the